Brother Shakur, tell us where we are at right now, man.
Okay. So right now we are on right off of 51st and Normandy, and we're standing across the street from the house that I basically grew up in throughout my adolescence years. Once we moved over here from 71st Street, 1351 West 51st Street, this was the house that I basically was raised in with my family until my arrest in September of 1985.
So what was, I guess the same people that lived in the other house that we were just on 71st lived here. Your little brother was actually born at that house too, huh?
Indeed,
so,
indeed.
So all five of you guys and your parents just moved here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely moved here. And yeah, it's interesting, man, because just being on the street, I'm just reminiscing all my friends who lived on this block. I'm looking at the people who were close in my life. We're standing in front of the Robinson's house. Michael Robinson, Anthony Robinson, Wanda Robinson, Ricky Robinson, all older guys, but had some type of influence in my life. My friend Leo used to stay right across the street. Eric Stevenson stayed next door to him. Then we had Pancho Blinky. We had, so yeah, it's just a lot coming up for me now. Yeah.
And and explain like who these people were and what role they played in your life back then.
So yeah, just basically like childhood friends, you know, childhood friends and older teenagers and older adolescents who I looked up to and had some type of influence in my life. You know, like when I think of Michael Robinson, Michael, he used to take me out to Long Beach to stay at his apartment, right, when he got married. And Eric, you know, we used to go to places like the beach, right? And I'm saying these are things prior to me being involved in gang activity. This is pre-teenage years.
Now, a lot of people watching this will say, it sounds like Shakur had a really positive childhood. He had a lot of friends on the block. What would have made you, and then you're coming up under a religious parent, what would have made you venture off into the streets and become a member of a gang?
Well, you pan your camera over that way right there?
Yeah.
This alley?
Let's walk over there.
Yeah.
Let's cross the street and go to the alley.
This alley right here? So, this alleyway right here, there it wasn't no fence there. So this was the route that I used to take as a little kid to go to school. So, say right there on 49th, this is where I was kidnapped as a 6-year-old who was sexually assaulted. So even though I was raised in this neighborhood, it's still a violent neighborhood, right? There still were factors that were going on, environmental factors that were going on in my life that I hadn't come to terms with, right? So for trauma to happen in a person's life and not get an opportunity to process that trauma, it's going to come out in some ways. Some people, they do self-violence. They might cut on themselves, right? Or they may drink themselves to death, right? And other people act outwardly on the others. And so for me, I became angry, resentful, and vengeful. So that's who I became. And so anytime I've experienced that anger, I would perpetrate anger. Like especially once I got to that age where I was 13 and I got involved in the gang activity and I had the whole backing of this gang, I was just like, I wasn't going to be anybody's victim. And so what that meant is that I was going to victimize others, right? But I think it's important to say, by not processing the things that happened to me, they eventually came out. So that's something that's really important. Like you say, yeah, it looks nice, but there's underlying tones of violence that take place in these environments that go unaddressed.
Okay, so before we talk about what happened to your family here at the house, let's talk about what are some of the memories you have here, you know, growing up in this house with your 2 older sisters, your 1 older brother, and your 1 younger brother, and your mom and dad. What are some memories you have here?
Man, I remember the first day we moved here, how my friend Leo was walking down the street. He stayed the 3rd house off from this alleyway right here. Him and some of his family members was walking by, and they introduced themselves to me. And they told me that I can come, you know, visit anytime. And so I ended up making a connection with Leo, and it's like, that was my house. I wasn't here, I was there. Let me be clear on that. So the fact that I wasn't here, remember I told you that I wasn't on the porch. I didn't have no porch. You know how some people say I didn't come off the porch until a certain age? I didn't have a porch. I was off the porch. So I was at my friend Leo's house the majority of the time. That was my family. I went to his house as if I lived there. I ate dinner there, you know? So it was just a different dynamic. There were things going on in my family dynamic that nobody knew. Like when I talk about emotional neglect. Can you imagine what it's like? And I say this with love, but can you imagine what it's like for a kid to go into a room where his mother is reading a paper or a book or something, or studying, and to get that an angry attitude, boy, you're getting on my nerves, right? That caused me to cringe on the inside, not really understanding why the woman I love, my mother, is telling me I'm getting on her nerves. So that means now I have to walk around eggshells, right? And I'm not receiving the love and affection that I'm looking for. You understand? So those aren't excuses. For me, those are facts. This is my experience was. You know, but of course there were also some good times, right? I mean, there were times when, when I graduated my 6th grade. When I graduated, that was the only graduation that I ever been a part of. My 6th grade graduation.
Which school was that?
Normandie Avenue, Elementary. It is straight all the way down that alley until you get to Normandie Avenue. So, yeah, I can recall just like going into the store where we had a credit, where I would go to the store and make purchases and say, put it on the books. So they didn't even know if my mother or parents had endorsed it. I would just go to the store and buy chocolate chip cookies and milk and tell them put it on the books. So, yeah, man, it's interesting because this house didn't have none of the bars. It didn't have this black fence. Yeah, it was white and green. The house was white and with green trim. So, and the store was also white. And it's now, look, what, mango or pink-ish? I want to say that, man, I used to access my room. I used to come out on the side. My room was all the way to the back where you see the green, like, big bush. My room was right there in front of that. And I would be able to come in and out my room and come out to the front yard or the sidewalk. Yeah, this is so surreal. My friend Benny used to stay here next door. He ended up committing suicide because his wife cheated on him. He ended up killing himself. And I remember Benny used to take me for rides on his motorcycle. Like I would be on the back holding on for dear life, and we would be on the highways. And so, yeah.